Today I am doing a book review on the book In Our Mother's House by Patricia Palacco. This book is about two main characters named Marmee and Mima. Marmee and Mima have a beautiful house, and one day they decide to adopt a beautiful baby girl, and they told their baby girl that they walked across dry, hot deserts, sailed through seas, flew over tall mountains just to bring her home to them. 3 years later, they added on a beautiful baby boy named Will. He was very tiny and was just 3 days old when he arrived. Then there was Millie. She arrived 3 years later and was 2 months old, and they became a family. Marmee and Mima were just like any other mothers. They loved to cook and just enjoyed being around their children. Mima was short and she was a pediatrician, and Marmee was very tall and thin and she was a paramedic. Marmee and Mima loved to laugh and make their children laugh. They enjoyed doing the chicken dance and sliding down the stairs and just hanging around the fireplace. The family's favorite holiday was Halloween, and one year they decided to go as wild animals. Everyone in the neighborhood barely recognized them except one person, Mrs. Lochner. She knew them right away, and she would glare at them when she opened the door. She glared at their mothers, too. Her kids would always come running and were so excited to see the children, but Mrs. Lochner would turn her back and shut the door. The children asked their mothers, "What's the matter with her?" But the mothers said nothing and continued down the block. The children still thought it was one of the best Halloweens they ever had. One day, the neighborhood decided to have a carnival. They shared different types of food with different cultures and enjoyed different fun activities with their children. Then, Mrs. Lochner came up to Mima and Marmee and said, "I don't appreciate what you two are." Will and Millie were all scared and froze up and said, "Mama, what's the matter with her? What's the matter with her?" The neighbors all closed in on them, and Mima and Marmee said, "She's full of fear, sweetie. She's afraid of what she cannot understand. She doesn't understand us." So, what do you think is going to happen now? You'll have to read the book to find out. So, what are my thoughts on this book? I really loved the fact that the family was very nurturing and accepting of everything. They had a family where they adopted 3 different kids, and they still showed them love and nurture and did things that all families do with their children, whether it's just laughing with them, giggling with them, going trick-or-treating with them, cooking with them. And that was something that I really enjoyed in this book. I think that this learning experience, while reading it, really kind of opened my eyes. I never really read books like this, and I actually had to look it up on Google because I did do my book talk on controversial books, and I did Tango Makes Two and Heather Has Two Mommies, but this was another popular one, and it was actually longer and was more in depth, and I really enjoyed reading it, and it was definitely different than the other 2 books that I read. The book definitely reminds me, even though my parents are different than the parents in this book, but it definitely reminds me of the love and nurture I received from my mom and dad, and that's how I felt throughout the book. Like, it made me happy, and it made me think of just families being loving and caring and there for you. And even the siblings loved one another and just were like any other siblings, and that reminded me of my brother and my sister. And I think this book can relate to many children that have families like this, and I feel like it's harder to find books that actually describe actual families like this, and I thought this book was amazing to be able to do that. I also think this book does reflect on the world as well, because we have families like this, and we're going to have students that have moms, 2 moms, or 2 dads, or just different types of families, and I think that's important to be able to have resources for them. I don't know if I would personally use it in my classroom, but I would definitely recommend this book to parents that ask me for resources for that type of situation. I do have a couple concerns that I know that I probably wouldn't read this, but if I were to, adoption and of course same-sex marriage would be 2 concerns that students' parents might not agree with. So I do not know if I would personally use it in my classroom, but I feel like those are two concerns with this book. And overall, I just felt like this book really discusses the situation, and also the pictures go well with the text and it connects with the text. And the genre, it's realistic fiction in my opinion. Some families are really like this, and some parents um, might not accept it as well. So I feel like this book shows both sides. And overall, the what I got from this book is that a family should be loving and caring, and I want all my students to have that in the future, to grow and develop. And overall, I really liked the book, and I felt like it definitely showed me something different. But thank you so much for listening to my book review.